Hello, welcome to my channel. Here is Kayla from Jax Japan, and we're going to talk about the 30 things that shocked us in Japan and Tokyo.
All right, yeah, let's start it
So,
off.
yeah.
Cheers. Kanpai. All right, let's start us off, sweetie. What you got?
Okay, so the first one was needing to know Japanese in Tokyo.
Mm,
So that was a very big shocking because I had previously traveled with you
hmm
in multiple areas of Japan in the middle of nowhere, also in big cities, stuff like that. At least 2 or 3 times before actually living in Tokyo.
hmm
And then so when I got like a basis of okay, how to check into hotels, like how to order food, all this stuff. I thought it was pretty easy. And so my first or second day living in Tokyo, I go to a Starbucks and I walked in and I was ordering. I was like, Korewa, whatever. And then at the very end, she asked like, "Oh, do you want it for here to go?" But I didn't know those words. It wasn't something that was asked a lot when we would go out because I guess we didn't order a lot of things to go. We would just like go sitting down areas and stuff like that.
mm,
Yeah, and so I literally I remember my face getting so red and I felt so embarrassed,
hmm
and I wasn't expecting to have. And like I remember saying like, "Oh, like English or like in Japanese." And like she didn't know any English, and
Eigo
so
wakarimasu ka?
yeah, and so she didn't know any English, and so she had to use kind of like sign language to help me understand.
Yeah, what
And
was it? Tennai, or
tenai,
what was it? Mochikairi. Like, there's some words like they're just used to saying, even if they think it's like, even if they know like, oh, this person probably doesn't speak any Japanese, they'll still use Japanese, maybe expecting you because you are in Tokyo, because you're in Tokyo that you'll know some things.
and
It
that's
was
the thing.
yeah.
I really thought like I was good enough to live there. Like I knew how to go ask like,
Mm.
oh, what train station. I knew like how to ask like basic information. I was able to order a phone, and stuff like that. But I don't know, that one just like.
Well, in the first like 3 weeks we were traveling around, like I was kind of handling all the Japanese situations. Like you didn't have to deal with anything like that, or not even just for 3 weeks, but like every trip we went on. It was when you got to Tokyo and you're on your own, and you're like, okay, I actually gotta. I don't have my Japanese teacher to help to
Mm-hmm.
help me with anymore. So I know, yeah, that was really hard, and even I struggle sometimes with like even just Starbucks orders because like or just ordering in general, if you're not used to it, it can be pretty difficult. So like even in Tokyo, yeah, you still, unless you're like even in like the big areas of Shibuya, that Starbucks you went to was
Oh yeah,
in,
so I worked in Shibuya, and that's
yeah,
where the Starbucks was, and it was in Shibuya Crossing, or not Crossing,
Shibuya Sky Building,
Sky,
yeah.
Shibuya Sky. So it's
hmm
very very touristy area,
hmm
and I was having trouble. That's what was very surprising and shocking for me. Like
Yeah.
it humbled me a lot
hmm
to be in that situation, but it also was very good because I was like, um, not cocky, but I was like pretty confident that I can just order food. But it really humbled me and made me realize like, oh, I still have a long way to go for even just like simple conversation wise.
hmm
So that's really motivated me to like want to learn more as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like you could be anywhere and you still have to know a little bit of Japanese wherever you go. Some places will surprise you though, like, you'll go to some places, everything's in English, like the waiter knows English, like everything's fine. But like, it can happen. Like you need to be prepared, like with at least some knowledge of the language so that you don't, that doesn't happen and you're sitting there being like, ten nai, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like for here, yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one though. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely kind of shocking. Even like a big city like Tokyo, like you still need to know
Well, yeah, it's like
Japanese.
supposed to be like what, like the most populated city in
hmm
the world.
Yeah.
I'm sure like so many people travel there, so that's like another reason why I was like, oh gosh, I was like,
Like there's people that travel there that don't know like anything about Japanese or Japanese culture,
mm-hmm.
and they get by. Two, what I got is the prices, which is crazy. So when I got to Japan, what we're used to in America, like going out to eat, for example, is like, what would you say? If you're going out to eat by yourself, what, like
Well,
15 to 20 bucks probably
almost per
for a
person.
lunch?
Like
Yeah.
$10 per person is like cheap,
Yeah,
almost for
exactly.
us.
Yeah, $10. That's really cheap. That's like we're only getting like,
Like we got a burger last night, and it was only 9.99, and we were like, what?
yeah, just a $10 burger. We're like, whoa, and it was like a good burger. But like in Japan, like having lunch can literally be like $4 or $5. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
like 900 or 1,000 yen for like a set meal where you get rice, your miso soup, and a nice entree, or in a salad, all for like 1,000 yen, which right now is like $7, which is unheard of. And even like going out going out to restaurants or going out to like a pub or something, and like getting drinks and like getting lots of food can literally, like for both of us, it would be maybe 10,000 yen, which is like $60. And we have so much food. You don't have to tip, like
Mm-hmm.
things like that that just add up. For example, I was living my paycheck as an English teacher in Japan was about, I think it was like per year about 3 million yen, which yeah, so that's like 20,000, 18 or $20,000, which is kind of like unlivable in America.
Oh my
If you're
gosh.
making 18 and $20,000, you literally can't
The livable
do
wage in
anything.
our city, what was I actually looked it up yesterday. It
It
was
was like 30 to
40.
$40,000,
No, no, no.
35,000.
Poverty, I think, was 37. So you were
Oh,
living
okay.
below poverty, basically.
Yeah. And I was living in like a little countryside in like Izumo, Shimane Prefecture, and I literally had so much like I was like thriving there. I was able to like go on trips. Me and me and Megan went on like a bunch of trips all out of pocket from my paycheck, and obviously you helped pay for a lot of stuff too. But we went on a few trips where I just paid for everything, and like I had no problem. I actually came back with like a bunch of savings. So even though I was making like unlivable wages in America, well, I was making unlivable wages like by American standards. I was actually saving money, like spending money, like going out to eat, every week, like getting all the groceries I needed, spending money on the things that I enjoyed without like any sweat at all. And
Hmm.
it's because stuff like going out to eat in Japan or groceries is like so much cheaper.
Mm.
Like my grocery trip per week would be like $30 USD,
Wow.
and that'd be covering all my breakfast and all my like breakfast, lunch, and dinner for like a whole week. And maybe I'd go out to eat like 2 or 3 times, and it'd be totally fine. So that was always like that was something that like really shocked me. And what's funny is that Japan is like one of the most expensive countries in Asia too.
Hmm.
So like you know, other parts of Asia might be like even cheaper, which is even crazier to me.
Yeah.
So, and you experienced that too, though in Tokyo, it's still pretty expensive, but even then, like it was still like nothing compared to like just
Mm.
a regular place in America.
I think the most shocking thing for me price wise was actually the hotels, like how much you can get by not paying as much. Like I feel like in America, hotels,
Or
um,
Airbnbs and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
Airbnbs, like they rack up. They like kind of like we went to
Mm,
Savannah and it was like so expensive.
yeah.
And it was just like a small little hotel. It
Hmm.
was a good area probably, but like I don't know. Um, where Japan, you can like pay like what $200 a night and
Yeah.
get something like
Get like a
nice,
beautiful like city view with like
a piano
all.
bar on the like.
Oh
Oh my, it
yeah.
was so. I was very impressed by some of them.
Yeah. And also like because the yen like keeps going down, like as an American, if you have US dollars, like you're just like it's just getting easier and like
Your money
cheaper.
goes a long
It's
way.
getting cheaper for foreigners, instead of
Hmm.
obviously it's bad for like maybe the Japanese people, their money's not going as far. And I was being paid in yen, so like if you're being paid in yen, it can be kind of uh,
Mm.
it can be kind of like not as good, but still, like I was being paid in yen for the 3 years I worked, and like I had plenty of money, and I was able to do everything I wanted, to go out to eat, go on vacations, and um, I think it depends also like where you live. Like I lived in a pretty small city, but even if you live in Tokyo, like compared to America, at least the prices are like crazy.
Yeah. So number three for me was actually we had a few experiences together, but one of them I was actually my last day living in Tokyo, and I was walking with my suitcases and stuff. It was like early Saturday morning,
Mm.
and this man is flat on his back. This businessman,
The salary man,
this
yeah.
he's like just laying flat on his back in the middle of the street, right outside of a station, and he just looks like passed out drunk, just sitting like laying there at like 8 a.m.
Hmm.
And I was just like, wow, like I don't know, it just like really shocked me. Not like in a bad way, but more like a funny way. I
Hmm.
was like, he really doesn't like he must be living a really good life, just enjoying the nightlife. Had too much fun. It made me think
Well,
of the movie Hangovers,
oh, Hangover, yeah, the
or it's like they
Hangover,
just have,
yeah,
'cause I haven't seen the movie, but it's
yeah.
like what I imagine is like
Mm.
just having a crazy night out and then waking up somewhere. You're like, how did I get here?
Yeah, it's really funny because yeah, if you live in Tokyo or Osaka or any of those big cities, you'll definitely see like the salary man culture, where it's like after work, all these guys in suits, they all go out together and like have their night on the town or whatever, but it'll be like a Wednesday. You know, but it's a little. I think it's a little sad though that they have to do that, obviously. But
Hmm. I mean,
and
they can do that here even in
yeah.
America.
But I mean, yeah, you always got to be watching when the last train is going to be if you're living in Tokyo or whatever.
Oh, that's probably a good point.
That's why, because usually it's like you're
It might have
going
been even
out,
like 6 a.m. It was like really early. I
yeah,
know
really
that on a
early.
Saturday morning.
Well, that'll happen, you know, because it's like they'll be out. Maybe it's like 2 a.m. already. The last train's probably already gone, and maybe they might live in over in some other Saitama or something, some other prefecture, and so there's like, you know what, I'm just gonna pass out right here on the grounds next to the train station, and I'll wake up in the morning and get the next one.
Hmm.
That's pretty funny though.
I remember we were on like a train, and
Mm.
there was a salary worker, and it was like on the way to work. I guess for him,
Oh yeah.
and he just popped open like a like
Yeah,
a
he had a whole bag of highballs from the and chew highs from the Kombini, and he was just cranking them open at like 8 a.m. on the train to Nara or something.
which I mean, I guess if you have like a really bad work
Yeah.
culture, but I get that was just like it wasn't like bad. Like you guys can do whatever you want. I just thought it was
Hmm.
really funny to
Yeah.
see. You know, I could see like Americans doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
I haven't seen it like that
it was the
before.
fact that he was like had a suit on, and he's probably like a pretty like clean cut
Oh,
Japanese man, and
it was like another day.
yeah, yeah. Or the guy passed out. He's just like probably a
Hmm.
clean cut Japanese guy by day, and then after work, it's
Oh.
like, all right, let's party, you know.
Hmm.
And then like 7 hours later, just passed out in the gutter. And then he's got to like be up for work in an hour, probably.
Yeah.
That's great. For number four, for my one, I got food portions.
Um,
So
just food in general.
well, so when my image of like Japan or like Japanese people was that like they're so healthy, they have like they eat like maybe less or something. Because like in America, I feel like people have the image of like Americans that like, oh, they just
Mm.
eat so much. We're just like we're always eating, we're always eating. At least when I was teaching, like that was the image that like I heard from my students and everything. They're like,
Supersized at McDonald's.
yeah, exactly. Like they're like, oh, how do you eat so much food over there? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I guess we eat a lot. And then but it wasn't, I was starting to going out to like Japanese restaurants and stuff, and I
Mhm.
was getting these huge portions. I was like, I did not expect this. I could barely even like finish them most of the time. I
Mhm.
was like forcing myself to eat it. And a big difference between America and Japan is that that you can't, it's very rare to get to go boxes, because in America we'll usually like order like a ton of food, and even if we don't eat it all, it's like, ah, it's okay, we'll take it home later, you know, eat it tomorrow. But in Japan they don't do that. It's kind of like you eat everything right there, and like, no, you're not taking it home. Very
Mhm.
rarely can you. But I remember like being like, I have to eat all of this. It's like this entire, you know, it's like an entire buffet of like all of this food. Did you experience anything like that, like the food portion sizes?
Yeah, they were a lot. Although I was thinking more, I don't know why. This doesn't have to do with Japan, but I thought about maybe it's like just American does that. I
Mm.
don't know if that's a fact or not. But I remember in Italy, I ordering pizza, and it was probably the best pizza I had in Italy. It was the first day I got there,
Hmm.
and I wanted it to be. I only ate half of it. It was like a huge pizza, and they went, and I was like, "Oh, can I get a to-go box?" And they never came back with it. So I think they just
Yeah.
like took it, and
Oh,
I don't think they understood the like. I don't know if that's a thing in Italy or like in other
yeah.
countries in general.
Yeah, all I know is America and Japan, so maybe it's just an American thing to get to-go boxes, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was definitely something that shocked me, was just how big, how huge the portion sizes are.
Mm. And you
Yeah.
said like it being like unhealthier because when we
Yeah.
think of Japanese food, we kind of think of like the ramen.
Mhm.
Sushi is obviously pretty lean for
Mhm.
the most part,
Yeah.
but there are like a lot of things that could be considered like fatty, not
Well,
healthy.
it's like we think of Japanese people in like society, and they're like they live the longest, they're so healthy. Like we think, oh, it's because of their food. Like maybe their
Hmm.
food is just healthier than America, and I think it probably is. But when you actually break down like the top 10 like famous Japanese foods, they're all kind of like deep fried, very greasy. Like ramen is like super high in sodium. Like tempura is fried, katsu is fried. You know, curry has a lot of sodium in it. Udon is like a ton of sodium and like a lot of carbs, noodles and stuff like
Mm.
that. Like like the Japanese food that we think of, even sushi is still like a lot of carbs when you think about it. It's a lot of rice.
Mm.
So like it's actually not as healthy as people think it is.
Mm.
But the difference is that Japanese people just like don't eat out as much as we do in the West. Like when we go to Japan, yeah, we're having all those foods because we want to experience all those foods and like and eat all these interesting things. But normally Japanese people like eat for dinner just like some rice, miso soup, and maybe like some fish, you know.
Yeah, I think. Well, I personally don't think ramen is that unhealthy.
Mm.
I think there definitely probably is like probably one of the unhealthiest things you can get in Japan besides like sweets and stuff. But I think what differentiates a Japanese and like they know what they're putting in. And even though ramen does have um a lot of sodium, that also does have like a lot of vegetables. Like, I feel like
It
even
is kind
their
of balanced,
unhealthy
yeah.
stuff has vegetables in every
Hmm.
meal where like our junk food is more like Doritos, more like
Yeah,
very very processed where even they're unhealthy are still whole foods at the end of the day,
yeah,
very few ingredients, they know what they're eating.
yeah.
Miso has a lot of benefits like miso
Hmm.
ramen stuff like that. So I think that's like another big difference. Obviously
Mm.
teishakus,
Mm.
it's like rice, miso soup, and some kind of fish,
Hmm.
some pickled vegetables. It's like the traditional Japanese
Hmm.
cuisine, and of course I think that's really healthy, and I think
Yeah.
they actually eat more carbs than anything else. Is actually
Mm.
they say like obviously having protein, having fish like
Mm.
not every day, but like I think it was like Okinawa. I read a book about it.
Hmm.
They actually prefer eating more carbs. I think that's actually what helps with longevity, like purple sweet potatoes and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I think they overall, I think America just has a lot more of that unhealthy ingredients that
Yeah.
Japan, even though they're quote unquote might not be very healthy,
Hmm.
but they're still like better, like more whole foods and stuff.
Mm. Yeah. No, I agree. I think it is healthier than America for sure. But I think what shocked me is like
The
is
portions,
the
yeah.
well the big portion sizes too, and then also like realizing like most of the Japanese food, like I guess I just had this image that like that's why Japanese people are usually so much more healthier or skinnier or live longer is because of their food. But like when you think about the most popular Japanese foods, is like, oh, it's actually like kind of like
Oh,
it's like
like
fried
curry.
and curry, like very high
Mm.
sodium. Now it's amazing, you know, it's obviously incredible, but it's not as healthy as you think. So you can still gain a lot of weight if you move to Japan. Like you still have to like be healthy. Like don't just think, oh, I'm in Japan, I'm gonna like lose weight or I'm gonna be healthy just because I'm living here, eating their food. Like you can still let it get away from you if you're
Hmm.
having bad habits. So that's kind of like what shocked me a little bit is like understanding is like, oh, okay, like the food isn't like there's nothing special about the food that is generally a lot more healthier than
Yeah.
American.
I think there definitely is like a little bit of a difference just because like say you eat a whole bowl of like ramen,
Hmm.
it is a big portion, but it's kind of the same thing as like eating like not the same, but like
A whole sub,
yeah, so
like a
like the difference in calorie
yeah.
possibly like
Hmm.
eating a whole bag of Doritos versus like a ramen, like it's
Yeah,
just healthier in general,
definitely.
I think, but that's up for debate, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah. But like a lot of stuff on food that shocked me. Also, how
Hmm.
good it is. Japanese food is
Japanese
freaking
curry,
good.
I didn't know Japanese curry until I went there,
Mm.
and I was I never heard of it before. I didn't know a lot about Japan in general. I only ever had like Thai curry, and yeah,
Yeah, the yellow
it's
curry.
definitely by far the best kind of curry I've ever had.
Hmm.
I was actually very surprised when I went there, and I knew about ramen, I knew about sushi, and I expected those to be my favorite. But when I went there, it was like foods I'd never even heard of before. Like udon
Yeah,
was absolutely amazing,
cold soba.
cold soba, tempura,
Hmm.
like eggplant tempura, something I never thought I would like,
Yeah.
was really good.
Yeah,
And yeah, curry
yeah.
was
Japanese curry.
by far.
I went through like a when I first had curry, I got obsessed with it. I was eating it like almost every meal. It was so good.
Hmm.
Yeah, you always think of like when you think of Japan, you're like, oh, um,
Everyone I talked to, whoever went to
ramen,
Japan, ran
sushi,
sushi.
ramen,
Yeah.
sushi. But honestly, hot take, I actually prefer American style sushi, like the rolls,
Mm,
than now.
the
I
sushimi.
think the fish is better in Japan. Like the quality of fish is obviously better because they just they catch it like that morning usually. But as far as the type, like I think just like the regular nigiri sushi that they have, like a rice with the fish on top, that's good. But like something about the sushi rolls, like a tuna avocado or a spicy tuna roll, like those will always be like close to my heart, like what I think of sushi. So
Mm,
not knocking Japanese sushi, it's amazing, but but like there's better stuff in Japan in my opinion. Like you said, udon,
mm,
ramen, or yeah, different types of ramen, and Japanese curry. katsu, like real Japanese katsu is like
Hmm.
amazing. So yeah, a lot of things about food. So if you ever go to Japan, like be prepared. Like the food is probably one of my favorite things about Japan and always will be.
Like one of the things that didn't shock me about food, but definitely blew me out the water. Is like I expected matcha and green tea. I've
Mm,
always had green tea when I was like in high school.
mm,
I drink it like 3 times a day. I love green tea, no
mm-hmm.
sugar or anything like that. Just like straight green tea. And then when I went to Japan, like
The
the
level of quality,
standard
yeah, the
I have
quality.
now on green tea, like it's so hard just to get tea from the grocery store now because I don't like the tea bag
Mm,
taste now because I've had such loose leaf, really good quality green tea, and now
yeah,
I just like now it's kind of ruined green tea for me. Like every single time I go back, I have to get like 4 or 5 bags because it's just
yeah.
I love it so
It's
much.
a different level for sure.
Five would actually be natural disasters for me. So I knew about earthquakes and volcanoes, and that was a big reason why I didn't really want to go to Japan or ever leave the
Mm,
country, leave my safe little like area of the world where it didn't really have a lot of that stuff. I never wanted to go to California for the same reason,
mm-hmm.
like just no interest in wanting to be in partake in that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, Japan has a lot of like, obviously, it's like, I think it has the most
Um,
earthquakes per capita, like,
right.
or the most earthquakes in the world. There's the like most active volcanoes in the world. It definitely like is probably, in my opinion, one of the few like really big downsides of like living in Japan.
Hmm.
But it's such a beautiful country and rich culture that like you still at least want to try it, you know? So I know that was a big thing for you coming
Yeah.
over.
So we had traveled a lot before I lived there,
Hmm.
and we hadn't experienced anything. Like
Hmm.
we've seen like um smoke from volcanoes and stuff like that, but like nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember my first night in Tokyo. It
Hmm.
was like, and oh my goodness. So I came back from. So he lived about an hour and a half flight, about an hour flight from Tokyo,
Yeah.
and so I actually missed my flight that morning. So I ended up having to
Hmm.
go later in the night, and I finally get there, and I'm trying to figure out where to go. I lived in a little place called Meijiro, and I finally get off the bus, and I'm like carrying all this luggage like 10, 15 minutes, and it's so heavy. And I finally get there. I have to carry it up like a flight of stairs, or I can't remember.
Hmm.
And it was just, and I was like, finally, I got to my bedroom, no sheets on the bed, and then I just hear like I start feeling something. I'm like, of course,
Of
like
course, your first
how
night.
else would this day end?
It's just funny because I lived in Japan for 3 years and never experienced one earthquake, which is kind of crazy. But where I lived in Shimane, I think Shimane is like it's like the safest prefecture in Japan as far as earthquakes, natural disasters. So I was really lucky I never experienced one. But you were experiencing them like every single day in Tokyo almost, even
It
like
was like,
little shocks.
yeah, it was like clockwork. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, every like night, not every night, obviously, probably like every 3 to 5
Hmm.
nights,
Yeah.
you would feel something, and it wouldn't even phase me at the point. It was like always like 9, 10 p.m., and I'd just be like, oh, okay, it's another one. Like,
Hmm.
and I thought feeling it, or my mind feeling an earthquake, like I was like really scared of earthquakes. But when I was actually, obviously they can be very dangerous.
Hmm.
I also felt very safe in Tokyo.
Hmm.
If it was anywhere else, probably I would feel a little scared. But I know how safe Tokyo is and how much they really
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
put into measures for the
Hmm.
city. But it was actually crazy how often it was. I was like, dang.
But that probably helped a lot. You kind of like get through that as far as like experiencing it every day. You almost get like numb to it,
Immune,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I mean, you definitely have to have a little bit of a thick skin to like want to move to Japan. You kind of, you know,
You have to understand that's a possibility.
yeah, that's a possibility and be prepared. Like, make sure you know the rules on what happens if there is a natural disaster. Like, be aware of where you are. Like, what are the common natural disasters in my area? I know in Shimane, really the only thing that I ever had to think about was possibly like flooding because we were in like a big kind of river valley watershed, and
Mm.
then like mudslides from mountains.
Mm.
So that was the like or landslides from the mountains. That was like the only thing. But I've never experienced either of those in the 3 years I lived there. So, but if you do live in Japan, just like be prepared, get an emergency kit, like understand your evacuation route and like what your like district needs to do in
Yeah.
case something happens.
Know
But
some phrases like help,
yeah.
call the like if so, especially if like someone you know or someone you love is like
Hmm.
under a house and you need help, like please like
Yeah.
help or something like that.
Yeah, know a few phrases like that, and
Mm.
like, yeah, it can be shocking because even if you think like, oh, like, oh, I know Japan has had like a lot of natural disasters and it has earthquakes. You don't know until you actually feel one,
Hmm.
obviously, because like I never felt one, but like from what you told me, it's like it's terrifying. Just
Mm,
feeling the ground shaking, and I've seen videos and it does not look fun.
yeah.
So definitely,
And
yeah,
I've been watching a lot of videos about it and like seeing like I haven't experienced this, but seeing like literally the earth like start cracking and stuff. I've
yeah, like
seen
the asphalt on the
videos.
road, yeah,
Yeah.
really scary stuff. Yeah.
The other thing we experienced, Caleb took me to this island, which ours like very peak, and
Oh
peak.
yeah, so we went to Kyushu. We were in Kyushu, Kirishima. It's beautiful, amazing region in South Japan, but does have a lot of very active volcanoes. Is that what you're
It
talking
was the
about?
most active volcano in
Yeah,
Japan,
Sakurajima
and he refused to tell me
in Kagoshima. Yeah,
because
so
I'm a scaredy cat.
well, yeah, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to tell you about it because I knew she probably wouldn't want to go. But it's
And
so beautiful.
it was very beautiful. And so we were
We had this amazing Ryokan where we had a view of Sakurajima, the active volcano, and we were just sipping tea.
I yeah, so it was just like we finally got cozy. I don't know if we
Hmm.
went to the onsen, but we were wearing our kimonos and we were sitting there with our tea, and I got the view,
Hmm.
and I just see like it was not like some smoke. This was like a miniature explosion.
Yeah.
Like I was, and I remember seeing it, and I remember just being like I was speechless. I remember, and I was
Yeah.
like already scared. Like my biggest fear is not being able to come back to my little sisters, not being able to see them grow
Mm,
up.
yeah.
Knowing my dad would be so sad something happened to me. You know, and like I just remember just thinking of my little sister and be like, oh my gosh, I have to like be safe for her.
Little did she know that Sakurajima does that like almost every other day,
But
but
he
I
didn't
didn't tell
tell me.
because I just thought, I'm sure it won't happen, or if it does, like, it'll be fine. Like, so she saw it and she was freaking out, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah, so that happens like every day here, so don't worry about it. It's totally safe.
I was having nightmares.
Beautiful place though. Love
Mm,
love Kagoshima.
it was
Kirishima is
very
really nice.
beautiful.
Next one for me actually has something to do with my experience working in Japan at schools, and that was, I would say, probably how disciplined Japanese schools are and how disciplined that the students are, and how they're taught from a very young age at like, you know, keeping things clean, keeping things neat and tidy. Like every single day at the schools, they would have a cleaning time, basically twice a day, one in the morning and then once after lunch. And everybody, the staff, the students, anyone who was on the school grounds, were all like, picking up a mop, a sweeper, like cleaning the desks, cleaning the floors, everything, which is really crazy to me because in America, obviously, we just have like janitors at our schools, and like the schools can be kind of filthy sometimes, but like in Japanese schools, they're like spotless. It is
Pristine.
so nice, yeah, and like the floor is like shiny wood floors, and like everything's pristine. And I think it's just like, and that's, I think it goes into a little bit like why we'll probably talk about later is that why Japan itself is so clean, like the city, like
Mm.
gardens, parks, and everything, is because they're taught at such a young age that discipline and like keeping things clean and being like forced to do it, and that they all work together to like create a clean environment. That, I think that was really shocking to me and really cool to see for sure.
I think that's something I feel like every country could at least implement.
Yeah.
Um, I remember in my school one time, like some kid like left their lunch, and the teacher was like mad at the student. He's like, you like the janitor does like at least throw your
At
literally
least throw
like
it away, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
just leave it there for the
the big thing
janitors.
for us is like gum, right? We put the gum, like,
Oh,
remember people would put gum under the desk, like that. Literally,
I
if
didn't do it.
no, I didn't either, but it got to be such a problem. People like
It was very
that was
known.
like the number one thing. Like, please just don't chew gum and put it under the
Oh,
desk. You can do everything else, just don't do that.
yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, the cleanliness of the schools and like how disciplined the students were. There's still like a lot. There's still, some, probably bad kids and delinquents and kids that would try to like, tease
Mm.
people or tease the teachers and everything.
I think what was really interesting, you told me was that you had to have different, well, which probably would have helped, having different outside shoes versus inside shoes for the
Yeah.
school.
Oh my
So,
gosh,
like this,
yes.
he said, like the floors were just spotless because you couldn't wear your outside shoe, but
Yes.
it probably was like a big pain to have to like change them.
Oh yeah, I had to buy two new pairs of shoes and like leave them at, so like I had to buy extra shoes for my two schools I taught at. So it's just like it was, and like especially when you have like the winter boots and stuff when it's really snowy and like having to change them and everything every time you go inside or outside. So that can definitely be a pain, but at the end of the day, it is kind of cool knowing like the floor is so clean you could literally like eat off of it because no, obviously never. But the floor is so clean that like you can, it's just very nice. It's very everything's very nice and clean and neat. I think that's really cool. Hmm.
Our experience with Mount Fuji.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
so it was just a really cool day. So Caleb has been living there for probably a year before I went,
about a year, yeah.
and he's never seen Mount Fuji.
Hmm.
Even though he sits on the side of the plane to try and see it. He
It just every time I tried to go see it, it was always like a cloudy day, or I just couldn't, or maybe I wasn't on the right side, or like not the right view. But I tried to see it a few times, never saw it.
hmm Yeah, and so we had this trip planned. It was in May, and
Hmm.
we went to Hakone, and
Hmm.
we had no expectation to see it. It
Hmm.
was a beautiful day, and we were sitting. He didn't tell me anything what was going on. He
Hmm.
just puts me in this big
Well, because
lift.
well, because you're so scared of things, I like in order to get you to do things, I just don't tell you what's coming so that you'll just do it. Because if I say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna be over a ropeway 100 feet above a volcano, staring at another volcano," then she's gonna be like, "No, I'm not doing that." But it's obviously it was worth it.
hmm
Hmm.
Yeah, and so we were getting on this lift, and I knew we were going to see possibly Mount Fuji. I
Hmm.
knew the big sign said on a clear day you can see it, and so we kind of, because of saying that, I kind of imagined it being really far away, and
Hmm.
so thinking like, okay, it must be like pretty far away. So we're thinking about like maybe this big.
Hmm.
We were like looking around, and like we are like, oh, maybe that's it, like
Yeah, just
really
like a
far
little
away.
any kind of pointed mountain. You're like, "Oh, I think that's Mount Fuji, like 100 kilometers that
And
way."
there was like a few other people in the lift with us, and I just remember
Yeah.
this little kid. And I remember looking this way, and the little kid's like, Mount Fuji. And I look forward, and we go over this hump, and Mount Fuji is
It's
huge.
huge. It takes up like the whole sky. It
I
is
remember just
insane.
being, I literally couldn't even move. I was like holding his hand so hard because I was like, holy crap. Like, it's huge.
Yeah, Hakone, you get like an incredible view. You're actually way closer than you think. And especially if you go up that ropeway at Hakone that gives you that view, like it's like right there. And it's you always see Mount Fuji in pictures and it looks amazing. You're like, "Oh, that's so like symmetrical," but you don't realize how huge it is. It is like way bigger than any mountain in Japan, like by far.
Yeah. I was, it was crazy. I was
Hmm.
like terrified until we got to the ground.
Hmm.
And, like, I was literally just like squeezing his hand. He was like, are you okay? Like, I was like, I can't remember my face, but I was like, oh my goodness. Like, it was kind of cool too. We were living in the moment, didn't really take any photos. Like, I literally
Yeah.
just couldn't even take my eyes off of it. I was like, holy
Yeah.
cow.
Yeah, if you ever go to Japan, like I know it's kind of a touristy thing to do, but like try your best to see if you can like, get a good view of Fuji. It'll almost like change your life on like what you think about like nature and mountains, how
hmm
big and beautiful that thing is.
Yeah.
Really shocking for sure.
Yeah. I wouldn't climb it personally, but
No, no.
I'm more of a
I've
looker.
heard climbing it is a little overrated. I mean, it's probably cool, but you have to pay now. Like, there's so many climbers. You're basically like waiting in line to climb the
Mm,
whole time. And
yeah.
also, like, I think looking at Mount Fuji is probably the best thing, right? If
Mm,
you're on top of Mount Fuji, you can't see Mount Fuji.
hmm
Maybe once in my life, maybe we'll try to climb it.
Yeah.
We'll see. My next one actually has to do with that same trip, and that is Japanese ryokans, specifically Japanese ryokan food. Now, if you ever go to Japan, like definitely ryokans are like a must try, just to have that experience of like kind of staying in like a traditional Japanese inn, wearing the yukata, like being like sleeping on the futon, like um, trying out the onsens and everything. But the food is an entirely different experience and something I was always looking forward to when going to Japan. I had gone to a few ryokans before and had like the ryokan food. I think it was once before you came, and it was like incredible. It was like these like amazing courses of like all these traditional Japanese foods, and they were so good. But a lot of the times it can be hit or miss based on what you get. And so when we went to Hakone, we stayed at this one ryokan, and like the thing is like you don't know what you're getting. Like they'll give you kind of like the menu, the kondate as they say, but it's like written in such old Japanese, like even like I'm sure even like fluent Japanese people don't even know like what it's saying, you know. So you don't know what's coming, and then when it does come, it's like in a way, it's in a form you have no idea like what it is. You're just like, oh, it's just like this little ball. I don't know what this ball is. I guess I'll try it. And then obviously you tried it and what happened when you tried it.
You're talking about the eyes?
Yeah, you like bit into it and you were like you just saw like eyes.
Yeah, a lot of eyes.
It was
It
like
would be
these
like, oh, let me try this yogurt. And there's like little worm, not like worms, but like little things.
there's like these tiny little fishes in it that they
Yeah.
have
And
it
it's
like
like, oh, wait.
or like little tiny little shrimps with like the eyes in it and you just like
Yeah.
don't even know. You know, it's like, oh, let me try this
It's,
like egg custard. This was kind of good, and then you see just like a giant like shrimp head in it. You're like, oh gosh,
yeah. It's definitely something. I'm not an adventurous eater,
yeah,
especially. I didn't eat pork before I went to Japan.
yeah.
So, like, seeing something like that for me, I was
That
like,
was like our second or third day in Japan too, and especially for breakfast too, because for breakfast, like it's just
oh, I do
very
like breakfast. They give it a lot of rice and miso soup.
yeah. They, no, there's the thing about Ryokan food is like I said, it's hit or miss. There'll be some on there that's like 10 out of 10, like oh this is so good,
Oh,
and then there's some that are like, then there's some like yeah I'm not even touching that.
the dinner, it was really weird. Like, they would give us like chicken or some kind of meat on like a pot, and
Hmm.
then they would just light a candle. And
Yeah,
so for Americans, I think you brought your parents there, and they were like, "This isn't cooked enough," you
no.
know.
So they brought us. It was like eggs and like a sausage link, like raw
Mm.
sausage, and they just lit the candle, and like it literally already went out, and the sausage is still like bright pink, and like
Your mom's like, "Can we get another
was
candle?"
like, can we get some more candles? Like that is not done, you know. So it's just like it's a really cool experience. Definitely recommend you doing it,
It's very
but
different though.
very different, and it can be really good, and they give you so much food,
Hmm.
but like it does feel a little bad because I feel like we waste a lot of food as well because like there's some of it where it's like yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna eat that. Like it's just that I can't, you know. Um,
My mom was really excited for the Ryokan food. And she's like very big in like trying to eat healthy and like trying
mhm.
new things. She was really excited to try like Japanese cuisine because she knew how healthy it was. And like by like I think it was like the second or third day, she was like, I just can't eat this anymore. Like I
Yeah,
need something like real food, which is
yeah,
it's real food. It's just like
it's just
it's
different.
hard to eat when you don't know what you're eating.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it's like I said, it can be like really good, and then sometimes it can be like really just like, I kind of want a cheeseburger right
Yeah,
now. It's just
we had to.
it's a very interesting type of cuisine that's definitely
Yeah,
worth trying, and it'll test your limits. Some of it's amazing, but some of it's just like I don't know about that, you know.
I felt really bad when they would come back and like take up
Hmm.
all our stuff,
Yeah, we
and
like
then we just
half
go
of
to the
it.
convenience and get more food.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely worth trying, and like I do
Mhm.
love part of it, like the experience, you know, because
Mhm.
it's all so beautifully presented. But it's just like some of it's just like I don't know about this one. I think I'll, you know, I'll bow out of that one.
Mhm.
But yeah, but Ryokans definitely try them out.
So the next one I think would be like the very sexualized culture. And again, like
Oh
I didn't
yeah.
know anything about Japan.
Hmm.
The only thing I knew about Japan was what Caleb told me. I would watch like anime every once in a while, not like super into anime,
Hmm.
but I didn't really know much about Japan. And so when I went there, and I went to a bunch of different countries.
Hmm.
And this is like the only thing I noticed only in Japan, which it might not be, but it was just something I noticed a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah, like in the convenience stores, there would just be like basically like half naked woman, which is just not that it's bad, you know, it's just like little kids can walk in there, or we'd
It's
be walking
just
down the street and
it's
there'd be
just
like
right out in the it's so in the open where like obviously that stuff is in like in American stores like they might have that but they might have like a
not like
separate
that
but they might have
though.
like a whole separate like curtain or like a whole separate like part of the store where I don't actually yeah you're right I don't even
It
think
would be
that stuff
there's magazines, but they're all like, oh, eat this healthy thing, or this like
yeah
celebrity broke up with this guy, like nothing, like it's literally just like a woman in bikini, like literally squishing her breasts together and stuff like that. It's like
yeah it's
crazy.
like but it's yeah it's like right out in the open like yeah like little like it's right next to like it could be next to like the manga like the kids
Mhm.
comic books
Mhm.
like you're it's kind of like right out in the open and even like the like we're just like we were walking down the street like we're in the main part of like Tokyo or something and we're like right out of the train station it'll be like the main avenue but then like the next street over could be like a really sketchy like bad
Oh,
district you know and it's like it's so it's kind of sad that it's like so out in the open and like people are like kind of like desensitized to it
yeah, I know like the love hotels, which Caleb did
yeah
tell me about. It was like it's basically you can pay for an hour in this hotel. It's like
it's like
basically promoting.
you pay by the hour and like they're called love hotels so it's like obvious we all know what that's probably for
Yeah, and I'm pretty
yeah
sure that's legal in Japan. You know,
yeah
doing that is legal, which in America it's not.
it's either legal or it's like very like looked over like oh like it's not a big deal or
Hmm.
something I don't
And I
know
remember like I watched a few videos of like, oh, as your like cheating is very big Like
Hmm.
not for women though. Women like it's very frowned upon for women to be to cheat and stuff, which I've seen like videos like, oh, would you cheat on your wife? He's like, of course I would, obviously. And he's like, would you ever
Hmm.
tell her? He's like, no, she would think I'm a pig, you know. But like when women were asked, like they're like, oh yeah, like he needs to relieve stress, like you know. But I don't know. It's a very different culture
Yeah.
that way, and it's like very surprising. Like yeah, it would just like out of the blue, it would just
and
be
and you
like,
can see it in like anime and stuff too. Like literally, like kids will watch like and
mm,
when I was teaching middle school and like my sixth graders, they would be talking about the anime they would be watching. One of them was like Chainsaw Man
yeah.
or
I remember
whatever,
Chainsaw Man being like, oh,
and
boobs.
like the whole point of Chainsaw Man is this guy who just wants to like look at boobs or something, like feel
Hmm.
I don't know what it is, something about boobs or
At least
something.
in the first like few episodes. So I think we tried to watch it, and
Yeah. So so for them, they're sixth graders, like 12-year-olds, kind of like desensitized to that. Obviously, in America, we it's kind of like that too, depending on how you're raised.
mhm.
But like it's like so out in the open. Like I said, you can walk into a convenience store and just see like porno mags. You can like you just be walking down the street next to the station in a busy area, and like there's like very sketchy areas that you probably don't want to be around. So it's like
Mhm.
yeah, it's just like very out in the open, and like I guess their culture is kind
Well,
of desensitized to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So in America, there's actually laws where like dance clubs or like strip clubs
Mhm.
and stuff have to be in a certain vicinity of like
Yeah.
schools and like very
Mhm.
important places. Like they have to have they're all in the same section and like they have to be away from like certain places for that same reason. And I remember like a lot of stories where like women were just or there's like women only trains in Tokyo for that exact reason because men will especially if a pack train they'll try to like feel on women and stuff like that. The evenings, especially, men will try. I've when during my experience in living in Tokyo, I had a friend. I didn't experience this, but my friend told me there was like this poor old woman on the train and some drunk guy, which can happen anywhere. I'm not saying this is just Japan,
Mhm.
but I have heard like yeah, he was just trying to like grab her and like stuff like that. Like obviously it was pretty late at night. It's really unfortunate. But I also remember so I got the green screen of death on my phone because of rainy season and I had to get a new phone, which is the phone I currently have.
Mhm.
And so my old phone didn't have this problem, but what I realized was the clicker when I take photos, it shutters, so you
Yeah,
could hear
camera.
it.
Yeah, the
Even
camera
if you took,
shutter.
yeah, even if you took it off, it would still do that. And I
Mm.
realized it was actually because Japan has such a bad problem with like taking photos of women, like on the escalators, it says like don't take photos of women under their skirts and stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
such a big problem that they have to put these signs out that they had to have any phone from Japan has to have the shutter on the phone.
Mm.
Like that's just like to me, I was like I've never heard of that before and to be in a culture where it's like that's such that like the sexualization is like and I think it probably does stem from watching that as a young boy
Mhm.
or a young girl, seeing that all the time, especially in anime. And that's probably just like their normal. It's like, oh, I can just like look up, girl skirts because they show in anime and stuff like that, you
Yeah,
know.
it's like I think it's just the level of perversion. Like obviously every country, like every like the whole world has like, probably stuff like that, but the fact that it was so like out in the open in Japan, it's like a normal thing. Like people just accept it like, oh yeah, like, we have to keep the camera shutters on to keep perverts from like taking random pictures. Like we have to have women only trained so that perverts don't start like so that women can feel safe just going to work. Just like
Mm-hmm.
really kind of like sad and a
Mm-hmm.
little messed up. Obviously, the whole world has problems with that, but like in Japan, it's like very shocking that it's so out in the open and
Yeah.
so accepted and like understood. Like, oh yeah, this is just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
We can't,
We could
just
put up a sign saying "Don't do this," but that's like the most we can do, kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Mhm. All right, next. This one's a little bit negative too, but this is the AC in Japan. In Japan, though, the apartment I lived at, I just had one little AC unit in the corner, and in order to like live in my even in my own apartment in the middle of like summer, I'd have a fan just blowing on me constantly because in Japan the central AC is like basically non-existent. Only like a few like places will have it, maybe if you're like lucky. And so it's all like these separate air conditioners. And so like I remember when I was teaching, like because the cost of utilities are so high, they're not allowed to like put the AC down to like a certain level. So it was like the lowest they could go was like 75 or something, which is like
Gosh.
for how hot Japan gets in July and August, like you're trying to teach a class and you're like literally just like having like a fan, like a handheld fan, like just sweating trying to teach because they're not allowed to turn the AC down lower. or some classrooms wouldn't even have AC. Only the teacher's room had AC.
Yeah. Didn't you
So,
say like some of the kids were like literally sweating and
oh
like
yeah, and like they had masks on, and so like kids are literally just like they're trying to learn and they're just like sweating. But it's kind of like I guess part of the discipline. They just kind of learn to deal with it, Whereas me
mm,
as an American, I'm growing up with
we're very
amazing
fortunate.
AC. Obviously, I know the utility bills are a little higher in Japan, just because of where Japan is geographically, and they don't have a lot of natural resources there, so that's why. And so they save energy, which is really cool. It's really amazing that they can do that. But like in the summer, it gets brutal, and even in the winter too. The insulation of like my apartment, it would get so cold. Like I'd have the kotatsu, which is like this thing. It's like a little heated desk. I'd be like under that thing, like in like my hoodie, like gloves on in winter because it was so cold, and like my heater wouldn't work very well. Um, and then in summer, I'd literally have to be like, have a fan blowing on me all the time, and like I remember work would just be brutal in the summer. So like the AC, I remember like when we'd travel, like every time we'd go anywhere, we'd just be drenched in sweat, like getting to the hotels. And some hotels, like you couldn't even put the AC down below like 73,
Mm.
and like we would just be like sitting in bed at night sweating.
Yeah, I remember it was actually the same when we saw the explosion. They
Yeah,
were like, okay, no one can touch their AC. Like the whole hotel had to be at the same temperature.
yeah.
I don't know if they were preserving, like you
Mhm.
said, but we were like, wait, what? We don't even like. Usually we can at least adjust it to some degree,
Yeah,
but yeah, that one was like it was hard.
yeah. So my advice is to travel in Japan in the spring and fall is I think the best.
Hmm.
It can get really cold in summer. I mean, it
Oh,
can get really cold in winter, but the summer, like there's some good places definitely to go. Like it's beautiful, obviously the nature, but like be prepared. Like it's gonna be hot.
well, some people do like the hot weather, like living in Florida.
Mm,
I don't personally like Florida for the weather specifically, but some people like I would never live anywhere else. Like Florida is my home. Like they love
yeah.
hot weather. So if you like hot weather, definitely do that. But
Hmm.
something that did help as well was the cooling sheets. They're like face cooling sheets,
Yeah.
and they're so cold. You can rub them all over your arms. You can rub them on your face. Like it is so refreshing, especially
Mm.
like yeah,
That and some
that helped a
Picari,
lot.
that and some Picari sweat. We were just
Hmm.
downing Picari sweat the whole trip in summer. So,
I'm bringing
yeah.
like a little mechanical fan or like a regular
Hmm.
fan, just like our umbrellas. I
Yeah,
remember I
that
got an
block the
umbrella. It
sun.
was amazing. It definitely helps. Even now, I'll use it.
But yeah, so don't really count on the AC to really cool
Hmm.
you off if you live
Yeah.
in Japan. Just understand it's not going to be as strong as in
Oh,
America.
oh yeah, like the trains as well. You got to
Trains,
be really
yeah,
careful because you can definitely get overheated
yeah,
if you're
definitely.
used to
I
AC.
don't understand how people in Japan wear like they're wearing like long sleeves and to protect the sun and everything. Like how they're so like
Like wick, like sweat wick.
I don't know, but like
Yeah.
people will be wearing like this outside in
Mm.
like July. Crazy.
Okay, so the next one I would say is onsens.
Oh yeah,
So again, like I did not know anything about onsens. All I know you had to be naked to
kind of
be in an
weird.
onsen. Yeah, and I was like, and when Caleb told me about that, I was like, what? And my mind, I was like, oh, it's like same, like both sexes were in the same
No,
bath, which obviously still happened. But yeah, it was like I
they're
don't know.
very very few and far between that happen.
Yeah,
They're
they're
separated
separated.
separated by gender. Yeah.
And so he told me he went and stuff. I was like, wait, what? Like you'd be like in the nude, stuff like that. Like it's really like I don't know. For me, it was like I didn't understand.
It is weird at first, especially for an American. Like for me, I was just like I was a little weirded out by it, but I was like I want to try it. It's like I knew about like oh I know it's like Japan's like really famous thing about their culture and their amazing hot springs. Like feels great. I want to try it at least.
Hmm. So the first one we went to was a Ryokan, right?
And I think it was in Hakone. Yeah.
Yeah, the Hakone
Hmm.
Ryokan. It was so awkward for me. I
Hmm.
felt really nervous. I think it was
Gochi.
just like not as nice as I thought it was gonna be.
Hmm.
Like it was very dark. At least the first one I experienced, so I was like, oh, this is like a little weird. I
Yeah.
don't know. Very buggy as well.
Well, it depends. It's kind of it depends where you go, but if you go to really nice ones, like when we experienced some really nice ones, like they were like
Yeah, and so like the
incredible.
more trying it, I was like, and then I'm realizing, even when there were other people in there, I was like, dang, this feels nice. Like
Hmm.
you shower before and stuff like that, and then you just get in, and your body feels so good. My favorite one was the cooling,
Yeah,
like
the
it's like an
cooling.
ice bath
Mm.
basically, kind of. And you just get in, it's so nice and cold, and it's like, ah.
Especially
And
in summer.
yeah, and I thought it was gonna be like really weird. But after a few times of trying it, I got really comfortable. Obviously, no one really talked to each other in there and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
very like, even though like there's people around, you kind of just keep to yourself and you just like
Hmm.
relax. It's really a soothing experience, and also the waters are like filled with minerals. It's like really
Hmm.
great for your skin, and you just feel so like when you get out, you feel so relaxed. You just like hang out. You're in your yukata, and you like have a beer afterwards. It just feels so amazing and relaxing.
Hmm.
Yeah. I was shocked too, even though I already had big expectations for onsens. I was shocked that like they were actually that good. They lived up to the hype.
Hmm.
And for you, I know for you, you had no expectations. You thought it was like bad, and then it became like your favorite thing about
Hmm.
Japan and like stuff we talk about every day. You're like, oh, I can't wait to go back and
Yeah.
have an onsen bath.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm my whole life, I was like, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life in like North Carolina or like Tennessee,
Mm,
somewhere in the mountains.
hmm.
And the one thing that they can't offer is the onsens, and that's the only reason. Well, one of the only reasons why I want to move back to Japan, because
Yeah,
that's just one thing I can't get in America,
yeah.
at least not like to
Like we
that
can have
extent.
like the most beautiful cabin in like North Carolina, but I know if we want anything like that, it's gonna be like a hot tub with like chlorine and
Oh, my
chemicals.
skin gets really irritated with like chlorine and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. Like I remember we went to Blue Ridge or Bruin or
Hmm.
whatever, and we had a hot tub, and literally my skin just broke out, and, like this
Yeah.
rash and stuff. Like, but I never had that experience with onsens.
Mm. Whereas in Japan they don't have that. It's like all like natural hot spring water. It's really
Hmm.
amazing. All right, next one for me is also kind of a little bit of a negative one, unfortunately. But this is like over tourism.
um,
Now what shocked me about it is that I actually moved to Japan during the COVID pandemic. So when I was first traveling around, I went to places like really touristy places like Sensoji Temple in Tokyo and Kiyomizu-dera and Fushimi-inari Jinja or Fushimi-inari Taisha in Kyoto, like the really nice the gates, like all the orange torii gates that you go up the mountain, and like the most famous places in like Tokyo and Kyoto, and there was like no one there. It was like really beautiful. You could really feel the power of like the area, and it was so beautiful. There's like barely anyone there, but then when the when the borders opened up and people were allowed to start traveling again, and when you finally came over is when like I started to see like the tourism, like I
Kyoto,
think when we first went to Kyoto and like just trying to go to Kiyomizu-dera up that hill
a
near
lot of,
Gion,
yeah,
and it was just like it was so there were so many people,
school
umbrellas,
kids.
school trips, like it was just crazy. Like you could barely move, and it really kind of sucked out like a lot of like the joy and experience. So many people there just trying to take pictures and like take videos and stuff, and so like you could really not really enjoy yourself because of the crowds.
Well, yeah, I will say this is also again like a personal preference. Just like the heat, I'm just not a big person with heat, but I'm also not a big person with crowds.
Hmm.
There are some people that probably will go and be like, "Oh wow, this is amazing!" Like I don't mind,
Hmm.
but that's just like a personal thing for like me at least, where it's like when it's too crowded, it feels very claustrophobic. Like I like having my own space, and it's just like crowds can, and it just like it's just a
Yeah,
personal preference. Like the crowds, it might not ruin your experience, but it's just something that was like, dang, this is like packed,
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I was really surprised at that. I mean, I think like this was like the start of when like going to Japan became a huge trend too. So like
Mm.
so many people started coming over, and it's still like I think Japan just hit another record for like most people to travel this year in the first half of the year. Like 22 million people have already traveled to Japan this year, and
Mm.
so like I can't even imagine going. Like even I'm sure Kyoto is like even worse right now with what I've heard and like a lot of over tourism spots. But the thing is like so like there's places like that in like Tokyo and Kyoto and Osaka which are so crowded, but then there's also places in the countryside that are like magnificent, like so beautiful, but no one goes and no one knows
Well,
about it.
yeah. So that's the thing is Kyoto.
Hmm.
There's like that very busy, packed road,
Hmm.
but right next to it, it's like calm. So it's like
Hmm.
if people were just to broaden
Yeah.
their not like go on the same path, the Tokyo,
Yeah.
Kyoto, even if they did, like going outwards from the busyness,
Hmm.
and like there's so much beauty in Japan,
Hmm.
but
But
um,
everyone sticks to the same like route that they see in the travel guides, and so like it can make some places like almost like not even worth going. Like if I was like planning a Japan trip for like someone who never gone before, I would like be like only go if you like absolutely really want to, and if you do, go like really early in the morning or like late before it closes or something.
mhm,
Like don't go in the middle of the day. It's not even going to be worth it,
yeah,
But
there's
if
a
you're someone who doesn't mind crowds, then I'm sure it's
yeah.
fine. But for us, like we definitely like to take our time, enjoy like the atmosphere. And when you have like 1,000 people trying to
They're
take
like trying
pictures,
to push you and
yeah,
like
you got
yeah.
umbrellas like hitting you in the face. Like that, it doesn't even make it like fun. So
Mm,
I was really shocked at that. Like just the amount of people like living, not on top of like an already pretty crowded place like Tokyo or Kyoto, but then there's the amount of tourists there as well, and like school trips just
mm.
kind of make it crazy.
And I think like when me and you went to the pagoda
Oh, the
In
pagoda
Kyoto
in Kyoto,
at
yeah.
night, and it
Oh
was
yeah,
nobody. And then I went again with my mom. So I think going at night or again like in the morning was
yeah.
like really the best time to go.
Yeah, do your research on like when you think is the best, like when the least amount of people go. It's usually early in the morning or like at night is like the best time. Like Sensoji Temple in Tokyo, like at night there's like barely anyone there, and then the
Hmm.
temple's all lit up, and I think it looks its best.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely just be wary of over tourism. Do your research. Don't just do the same thing everyone does. Like try to find your own route. Like you said, in Kyoto, there's like the one main street. Literally go like 2 blocks to the left. You'll see probably an even more beautiful temple and no one there.
Hmm.
So it's just kind of
That's kind
the
of
way
what
it
we
is.
did.
Hmm.
We found some really beautiful like little gardens and like temples
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff.
And there was like no one there. We had it all
Hmm.
to ourselves, like even like in the middle of the day. So
Hmm.
just kind of do your research and go off and explore and go off the beaten path a little bit.
Hmm. All right. So the next one is actually like I don't know if it's hospitality or politeness,
Mm.
but when we were there, like in America we have this, but not to I don't know. So considering there's no tipping,
Hmm.
like I will give a big tip and they'll always be very grateful in
Hmm.
America, or even if a small tip, they would be grateful. But in Japan, they do like 100%. Like they
Mm.
treat you like you're the most important person in the world, even
Hmm.
without tipping. Like they like that's just who they are, like how they were raised. I don't
Hmm.
know, but like every time we went, like hotels, restaurant, like they were always so nice, and that I've never been treated like so kindly.
Yeah, like they go just like out of their way to make it just an amazing experience. Like you go to a Ryokan and they're like wiping down your suitcases and stuff
Mm.
before they let you in, or they're giving you like top class service, and like you almost want to like give them a tip or something, like because you feel bad. It's like no, you're doing too much.
Oh, and they're like doing the elevators for you. They'll go up to your floor and let you off, and like it's
Yeah.
like little things. It's like oh wow, they
Hmm.
really like want you to feel
Hmm.
like important,
At
you know.
restaurants too, like they'll give you like
Hmm.
the very like amazing service, and like everything comes out great, and you don't there's like no attitude, there's no like
Hmm.
there's no like, oh, you better be nice or I'm gonna spit in your food kind of a
Oh,
thing.
yeah. Which obviously that goes both ways. Obviously, don't be jerks to them,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely. Well, it makes you want to like treat it with respect too,
Hmm.
because they treat you with so much respect. You're like, oh wow,
Yeah.
I want to pass that on. It's really nice. And like on like flights too, like you experienced like flying with JAL, and then like you had to go to like what, Turkish Airlines or something, and like the dichotomy from that
Hmm.
was crazy.
Man, JEL is nice.
Yeah,
I've never flown the other one, ASA,
ANA is good too. Yeah,
ANA.
it's like the same.
Yeah, it was
Yeah. Hmm.
nice. And yeah, everyone's so nice.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I mean it is kind of like their culture. Like they have like the whole like customer is God.
Mm.
That's kind of like what they expect. But it's just cool that like they expect like 100% hospitality, 100% politeness, and like treating treating the customer like in the utmost respect.
Hmm.
You know, where in America, we'll have good service too, but it's more of like because they're trying to get a good tip. It's more of like
Mm.
a monetary thing. Where for them that they don't get tips, it's kind of like their salary is set. They're just doing it because that's how they know is a good job. That's what they know
Mm.
is a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like even if like they're a convenience worker, they're still going to do the best as
Yeah.
a convenience worker.
Yeah.
You know, for them it's like, oh, just because I'm a convenience worker, like doesn't mean like, you know.
Doesn't mean I get like even like at McDonald's, like people will be like smiling and like
Oh yeah, and
it's
in Japan he
in
means.
Japan and McDonald's, like people will be like smiling, like so
Hmm.
happy. It's like you're working at McDonald's, working at the workers at McDonald's, like will just look like so depressed and like don't care at all about their job and everything. But
Yeah.
like they act like McDonald's is what they wanted to do with their life. Like that's how like the drivers, like the taxi drivers, everything. It's like they act like that's like what they want to do with their life, and they like put their all into it. So that's
Yeah,
really
like
cool.
every single thing, no matter what they do, like they're putting
Hmm.
their all into it. I thought that was really, really wonderful.
Well, speaking of McDonald's, my next one actually is freaking
McDonald's.
Japanese McDonald's in Japan. Yeah, is crazy. So like I've always been one, like I grew up eating McDonald's and stuff. Like I always liked it, but I got to a certain age where I stopped eating it just because like, oh, I need to like take care of my health. Like I can't be eating McDonald's every day. So I didn't eat it for like a very long time. And even when I did, I was always kind of like, like it's good, but it's like kind of doesn't taste that great. But like when I started living in Japan, literally like you can barely ever get breakfast anywhere. But McDonald's has such good breakfast. They have like the McChicken, but it's like for breakfast, like the McMuffin, but it's like for breakfast with the McChicken. It's so good, and like everything at McDonald's there in Japan, like the fries are always fresh, like the burgers always like comes out great,
Mm.
you know, and that goes for like a few of like Western um,
Like KFC or
fast food, like
Domino's.
KFC, Domino's. Like we haven't tried Wendy's over there or Burger King, but like the stuff like that, like we kind of think of like low quality and it's like oh fast food. Like even fast food in Japan is like high quality, like especially like McDonald's.
Mhm.
Definitely recommend it. I know it's kind of weird if you're going to foreign countries and like
Yeah.
you want to check the foreign food, but like the McDonald's over there is like in my opinion like way different than
Mhm.
McDonald's here in America. So like certain fast food places like that.
It's always hot and fresh.
Yeah, it's always hot and fresh. All right, what you got next?
Safety. When we were traveling in big cities,
Hmm.
there were like little kids just walking around by themselves. I've never been to New York City,
Hmm.
but I know in America, like kids walking around even down the street, like by themselves, like where's your parents? Like that's
Hmm.
unheard of. It's very kidnapping and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And literally just seeing like little kids with their backpacks, no adults around, just walking by themselves, and it being completely fine.
Hmm.
That their safety is there is like so, or their crime rate there is so low. All that stuff,
Hmm.
like that was like really cool.
Yeah, I mean, 3 years like living in Japan, it's like never at any point did I ever feel like unsafe. And if I did, it was probably just my own mind. If growing up in America, like I remember when I would like walk around my small town of Hirata at night and it's like pitch black, and it like I feel like I was like, I'd be so scared. But then I realized like how safe Japan is, and like I'm really just chilling, just walking down the street, no big deal. Like we're in cities, you go down any like alley or want, like you're not, like you're not at risk of anything like that. Now you still like be careful, don't like take precautions like you normally would, but like the fact that you can do stuff like that,
Yeah.
like you can explore anywhere you want in the city and not feel like you're in danger, which in America is like totally different. In America they like basically tell you like do your research before you go to a city so you don't end up in a
In
bad
the bad
area
area.
and like end
Mhm.
up getting something stolen or something, unfortunately. So in Japan they don't really have that, which is really cool. Like everything's so safe, they take precautions and measures for like everything. It's so cool.
Yeah, we were in Kyoto our first time,
Hmm.
and I remember we were in our kimonos and we were walking, and I really
Mm.
had to, and I used the restroom and like really far away, and I was in like the little sandals or whatever, and I was walking back. It was like solid 5 to 20 minute walk. I can't remember exactly, but it was like long enough to be like, oh. And then before realizing I didn't have my purse, which had my
Hmm.
passport, which had all my money, which had like
Hmm.
all my identification. Like I literally had everything in there, and I left it in the bathroom, and I was like, oh crap.
It was just like a public bathroom too, in a really crowded area.
It was the most crowded street on
Yeah, in
Kyoto.
Kyoto. Yeah.
So like I was like, I don't even know what to do. So I remember walking back. I was like, oh well, I guess if I lose my passport, then I'm stuck here. But at the same time, I was like, this does kind of suck. You know?
Yeah. Also, it was like I think it was like a rented purse too. Like
Oh my
it was
gosh, it
part of
was
the
from
kimono.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was part of the kimono, and and so we get back there, and there's like two like school girls in the bathroom, and I'm trying to figure out how to ask if there's a purse in there, because it's only like my second week in Japan, and they're like, oh no, there's nothing in here, and like we went down the stairs. It was like next to these stairs. We went down, and we see a woman. Didn't you see her? Because I didn't see her.
No, it was like a couple or
Yeah, it was a
something, and
couple,
like I saw one of them was carrying
like
the
the bag.
purse, and I was
Yeah,
like, wait, is that your purse?
yeah.
Yeah,
And then she like looked at us.
because it matched your kimono, and
Yeah.
we were like, I think that's your purse, and so I think you asked, and it was like that's, and then we looked, and it had everything. Everything was still in it.
Yeah.
Like it
Like she
was.
was like looking for us.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I think maybe
She
she was
probably
gonna
was like trying to find an
take
area
it
to
to the station or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh,
But like
and I
someone
literally
wasn't.
like I literally thought I was going to cry. I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much." And she was like
Yeah.
so kind, we were just bowing to each
Hmm.
other. And I was like, "Dang, that would never happen to me."
Yeah.
Like I think when I went to Italy, my professor got pickpocketed the first day. Your
Yeah.
manager recently just like lost his wallet.
Yeah. Exactly. Like it's kind of like, I mean, not a
Or
normal
got his wallet
thing,
stolen.
not a normal thing, but like
It's very rare. Well, I mean, there are good people in America where it's like, oh, I
Hmm.
left my wallet, or and then people will come back. But considering like it was crazy and how long I was
There
gone
was a lot
for,
of
yeah.
it had like all of your travel money in it too, so it just been that would have just been so unfortunate.
Yeah, God was looking out for me that day. I was
Yeah.
very, very thankful.
But yeah, just in general, like the safety, like in Japan is pretty crazy. Like the
Hmm.
crime rate is so low. So like when you go, you don't obviously take precautions like you normally would. Like don't be an idiot. Like
Hmm.
don't act like you're invincible, but understand like you are safe. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing to worry about.
I mean, I lived there by myself in a big city. Obviously, I didn't go out at night. I'm not a big night person. I usually am in my apartment by 8 or 9 o'clock.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've never had any kind of problems.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
think
it
the
was,
only things I've heard of is like scammers. Like just don't like there's like the street people on the street that are trying to get you to come into their bars and stuff or
oh,
whatever.
interesting.
It's like,
Oh, just
oh,
so they
like
charge
free
more.
drinks. It's like, oh, we're giving you free drinks.
What?
Yeah, you haven't heard about that?
Oh,
Yeah, Chris Broad's had a few videos on it.
oh,
Um, like that's like the biggest thing you have to worry about if you're a foreign tourist in Japan is the kind of the people on the street that like try to get you to come into their restaurants or bars, and then it's actually like they charge like crazy amounts or they'll drug you in some
oh my
cases. Yeah,
gosh.
there's some really
All right, so Japan isn't as safe as I thought it
well,
was.
just it's safe, but just don't like don't follow people to random places you don't know. Don't
Right.
like follow
Don't be too
randoms.
trusting.
Don't be too trusting. Like especially if you're near a big touristy area, that's where that kind of stuff happens. Usually in
Hmm.
like Shibuya or Shinjuku in Tokyo. But but if you're going to like other places, like you don't have to worry about anything like that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yes, so that was 15. We're going to do the next 15 on his channel, so I'll link that down in the bio. So, yeah, thanks for watching up to now. I'll see you guys later.